are going to study everything concerning the mammalian heart. Structure of the heart, circulation in the heart, pumping of the heart, and the heartbeat. You better stay tuned for more elaborate explanation of the above areas for better performance in biology. Before we do so, please remember to share this video to the students, colleague biology teachers, to the parents, and all relevant people that would benefit from this video. A heart is an organ that pumps blood that contains oxygen and nutrients to all parts of the body. It is located between the two lungs, in the chest cavity, hence artery protected. Externally, mammalian heart has got coronary artery branching from aorta, and that it supplies oxygen and nutrients to the heart tissues. At the same time, it has got coronary veins that carry away carbon dioxide and other metabolic waste products to the excretory organs. There are 2 chambers on the right side and 2 on the left side. Valves are located between each chamber to ensure that blood flows in one direction. Right atrium receives blood from all parts of the body with very little oxygen through the giant vein called vena cava to the lungs via the pulmonary artery, the only artery that carries the oxygenated blood, to have oxygen handed to it before flowing back to the heart via pulmonary vein, the only vein that carries the oxygenated blood. You need to note that during blood circulation, aortic valve prevent backflow of blood to the left ventricle, whereas the pulmonary valve, one of the semilunar valve, also prevent the backflow of the blood to the right ventricle. The contraction and relaxation of the heart muscles that leads to pumping of blood in and out of the heart doesn't happen automatically, but are initiated by electrical impulses known as the pacemaker or the sino-arterial node, the SA node. Welcome to the blood flow. Blood flows into the heart twice for every complete circulation. Blood from the bonded tissues is pumped to the heart via the giant vein known as vena cava to the right atrium. Atrium then contracts to push the blood down to the right ventricle. Between the right atrium and the right ventricle, there are valves known as tricuspid valves that open and close to allow blood to empty into the ventricle and also prevent backflow of the blood to the right atrium. When the right ventricle contracts, the blood is then pushed through the pulmonary artery, the only artery that carries the oxygenated blood, then taken to the lungs to have oxygen added to it. The red blood cells in the blood here traps numerous molecules of oxygen, making it oxygenated. The oxygenated blood later flows back to the heart via pulmonary vein, the only vein that carries oxygenated blood, and the process of contraction of the heart muscles begins again. From the left ventricle, blood at a very high pressure is then pumped to the body via aorta. Between the left auricle and the left ventricle, there are valves known as bicuspid valves and the pulmonic valve that prevent backflow of the blood. Aorta is a giant tube that branches into smaller ones to make sure that oxygen is distributed to entire body tissues. Welcome to the pumping mechanism. We need to note that heart undergoes contraction and relaxation rhythmically throughout the animal's life. Relaxation, which is also known as diastole, happens as follows. When the ventricular muscles relax, the volume of each ventricle increases while the pressure decreases. This change makes the arterioventricular valves, and in this case we are talking about the tricuspid valve and the bicuspid valve, to open, allowing the oxygenated blood from body tissues to flow into the right ventricle via the right auricle, while the oxygenated blood to flow from the left auricle into the left ventricle. At the same time, the semilunar valves close, preventing the blood flowing back into the ventricles. Let us now look at contraction, which is also known as systole. When the ventricular muscles contract, the arterioventricular or the cuspid valves close, preventing the blood flowing back into the auricles. The volume of the ventricles decreases while the pressure increases, forcing blood out of the heart to the lungs and to the body tissues. The electrical system. The rhythmic heartbeat is initiated by the SA node, which is located in the wall of right atrium, and it is made up of special pacemaker cells that sends impulses to the AV node. The AV node, which is located at the center of the heart, that act as a relay between the arteria and the ventricles. When the SA node fires, the arteria contract and pass impulse to the AV node, then travels all the way to the ventricles, causing them to contract, hence releasing blood out of the heart to the lungs and to the body tissue. As we come to the end of this video, we need to note that the chambers, the valves, the vessels, and the electrical impulses enables blood to be pumped in the body by the heart effectively.